Following 2024's Drive Away Dolls, this is the second in a planned trilogy of lesbian B movies directed by Ethan Coen of the Coen brothers and starring Margaret Qualley. This one is Honey Don't. Hey guys, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews It. Welcome to my movie review for Honey Don't. This is available now on demand for rental or purchase, and you can get the Blu-ray as well on October 3rd. This was a blink and you'll miss it in theaters. I think the big screen window was only a week for this film. But I do want to stress that you do not have to have seen Drive Away Dolls to understand Honey Don't. They are, maybe spiritually related. Certainly they're both crime capers, mysteries, and thematically, yes. But Margaret Qualley does not play the same character in Honey Don't as she did in Drive Away Dolls. And Ethan Coen has said, yes, this is part of my lesbian trilogy, which I guess there's another movie coming out next year called Go Beavers. I don't know if that's been filmed yet. But in any event, Margaret Qualley is playing a lesbian in all of these movies, and it has a B movie, motif and sort of, aesthetically, it's a bit of a B movie, but they're not direct sequels. So if you haven't seen Drive Away Dolls, don't worry, you can still watch Honey Don't. But we'll talk about all this here in just a second. First, though, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are a subscriber already for Dan Reviews It, thank you so much for that. I love it when you guys come back and check out my stuff. But if you're not, please consider subscribing and click that notification bell too. You could also like this video, comment below, and let me know your thoughts, and appreciate that as well. All right, so like I mentioned, Margaret Qualley is playing a different character in this called Honey O'Donoghue. She is a private investigator here, and we also have Chris Evans as this reverend who is a cult leader, as we learn. Charlie Day plays a police detective, and Aubrey Plaza, a police officer that Honey falls for, and they embark on a lesbian relationship. And we also have Billy Eichner and Lena Hall and Kristen Connolly as some bit part players here, but mainly it's these four very well-known people: Qualley, Charlie Day, Chris Evans, and Aubrey Plaza. So Ethan Coen directs these movies, and he co-writes them with his wife Trisha Cook. So same team behind Drive Away Dolls is both behind the camera here, and then of course Margaret Qualley in front of the camera. I thought Drive Away Dolls was an all-right movie. I actually rewatched it again just before going to see Honey Don't, just sort of as a refresher. I knew they weren't, direct sequels or anything, but I wanted to, sort of put myself back in that mindset. And that movie was all right. I think I gave it a B minus or something. But this movie just isn't good. And it's a shame because I really like the character. Let's talk about the biggest positive of this movie first. We'll start on a good note. I love this Honey O'Donoghue character. Margaret Qualley plays her very well. I'm becoming quite the Margaret Qualley fan. I mean, everything I've seen her in so far, she, even if the movie is a little bit subpar, or the project, I really like her in it. I mean, Maid on Netflix was great, and she was in Poor Things, and then Drive Away Dolls, and of course The Substance got her a lot of accolades. I thought maybe she could have been nominated for that, for supporting actress. But I love this Honey O'Donoghue character. I wish she was in a much better movie, a much different movie than this, because she plays it great, and I like the character. But that is pretty much the only, positive thing, at least in terms of a major positive, I can say about this movie. Yeah, the intro is kind of cool, the way the credits run, on like street signs and stuff. Okay, that aesthetic I like, and whatever. Okay, I'll give it points for that. But this movie's just a mess. So let's talk about why. First of all, I really did not like the Chris Evans portrayal or character. I mean, you're not supposed to like the character, but I don't like the way that the character was written. It was corny. He's this reverend of a small town, and like I mentioned in the intro, he is a cult leader, and he's, doing some things that would not be aligned, I think, with God's work, let's just say. And we won't get into the details on that if you do decide to watch it, but we learn pretty quickly he is not a good dude. But it's just so over the top, and I get that that was sort of the point of his character, but I just did not like the way he portrayed the character. I don't like the way the character was written. And then Charlie Day, same kind of thing. And I love Charlie Day, Always Sunny, huge fan. But this cop, is very, very one-dimensional that Charlie Day plays, and he plays it the exact same way that we've seen him play a lot of other things. And I'm not saying Charlie Day doesn't have range, because he does. I've seen him do things that are vastly different from this. But this seems like a redo of, if sort of Charlie was a bumbling police officer, Charlie from Always Sunny. And so I didn't love that. And then you have Aubrey Plaza, who, she's all right in this, but again, the character not very well written, not really well defined. And by the end of the picture, we don't go into spoilers here for new movies, but by the end of the picture, I didn't think the motivations for these characters really made a lot of sense. I don't know if Coen and his wife wrote themselves into a corner here, and we're like, how are we going to end this? Or maybe this, was plotted out all along and just made sense to them. I don't think the motivations for a lot of these characters made any sense. And then there's the humor of the movie. I did laugh a few times. I guess that is a slight point in the positive column, but only a few times. I mean, I got a few chuckles, maybe one out loud laugh. But if this were, supposed to be a laugh out loud comedy, which I think Drive Away Dolls, for its faults, certainly had much more comedic moments overall than this movie does. I just didn't find this very funny. The plot, really, we had like a bunch of characters that were thrown in there to sort of, give the plot a little flavor, I guess, but you could have excised them from the movie and it wouldn't have mattered one bit. So listen, this has a lot of flaws, and there you go. We'll end it there. I mean, I don't think there's much more to say. I will leave Honey Don't with a D+. A more than a entire grade level down from Drive Away Dolls. But if you're interested, you can check it out, like I said, on demand, and it will be on Blu-ray as well on October 3rd. All right, thank you for watching Dan Reviews It. I will see you next time.